All right, let's jump right in. We're going to zoom in on just 3 verses from, one of the most intense books in the whole Bible, Revelation chapter 13. And what's wild is that hidden inside these verses is this incredibly powerful message, not just about cosmic justice, but about what real faith looks like when you are up against some truly overwhelming power.
For the very first believers, this stuff wasn't just some abstract story. It was their actual life. They were living right in the middle of an empire of swords, a world that ran on pure brute force. But what we're about to see is how this passage showed them that their greatest weapon, well, it wasn't a sword at all. It was something completely different.
Okay, to really, really get this, you've got to try and put yourself in their shoes for a second. This part of Revelation is just packed with these visions of huge, powerful beasts, and everyone knew these beasts stood for earthly empires. So for the people hearing this for the very first time, there was no question. One empire would have popped into their head immediately: Rome. So let's listen to the message they would have heard, with Rome in the back of our minds. Whoa, okay, that is a lot to take in, right? It's so dense, but so powerful. So let's do this. Let's break it down piece by piece and really unpack the message of hope that's packed inside. And we'll start right at the beginning. So right off the bat, the passage sets this huge, cosmic stage. It anchors everything that's about to be said in this incredible idea of a divine plan. And get this, a plan that was in place before the world was even a thing. Can you imagine? For a people who felt completely powerless hearing this was everything. It all starts with this foundation of just absolute certainty. Okay, and this is where it gets super interesting. Because that phrase, it sounds like a total paradox, right? How could the Lamb, who is Christ, be slain before the world was even made? Well, here's the key. The text isn't talking about time the way we do. One thing happening after another. Nope. It's making this huge statement about the absolute certainty of God's plan. This wasn't some plan B that God scrambled to come up with after things went wrong. No way. This was so foundational, so central to everything, that in God's mind, it was a done deal from the very, very beginning. Just think about that for a second. What this is really saying is that all of human history was basically woven around this one central, pre-planned event. Now, try to imagine you're one of those early believers, and you are facing the crushing might of the Roman Empire, and you hear this. It's this incredible reminder that there's a much bigger cosmic plan in motion. And in that grand story, Rome is just a temporary character. Okay, so from that cosmic foundation, the message starts to build. After locking in this idea of a master plan, the text pivots to a promise. And it's not just any promise. It's a promise of divine justice that works almost like an inescapable law of the universe. Now, this next line, it's so easy to just read right past it. But don't. This little phrase is basically a spiritual drum roll. It's like, after all that deep theology, the text just stops and says, hey, listen up. Pay really close attention because I'm about to lay out a core principle of how my justice works. And then, boom, there it is. Look at the perfect symmetry here. It's like a mathematical equation. He that leadeth into captivity, well, he shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword, yep, he must be killed with the sword. It's this perfect mirror. The actions of the oppressor literally become their own destiny. It's presented like a fundamental law of reality. And this right here, this is so important. This is not a call for revenge. It's not a command telling believers, hey, go pick up your swords and fight back. Not at all. It's a promise. It's a guarantee that there is an ultimate divine accounting that no one can escape. Justice will be done, but on God's terms, by God's power. And this whole idea wasn't some new thing that just popped up in Revelation. It has super deep roots in their tradition. We're talking centuries earlier. The prophet Isaiah wrote about this exact same principle of divine justice. So this just goes to show there's this consistent theme running all through the scriptures. God's justice is a reliable promise. You can count on it. Okay, so let's put it all together. If God's plan is certain and his justice is absolutely guaranteed, what's a believer supposed to do in the here and now while they're suffering? What's their role? Well, it all builds to this final, absolutely crucial phrase. This is it. This is the big takeaway. After all that, the cosmic plan, the unbreakable law of justice, the whole thing lands on 2 words:
patience and faith. That is the response. That is the answer to persecution.
And let's be super clear. This is not about just being a passive victim, just taking it. No, this is an active, powerful spiritual discipline. The call is to actively endure what's happening, to consciously say no to revenge, and to place your complete trust in that divine justice that you know is coming. That kind of patient endurance, that is what faith looks like in this situation.
So, where does that leave us? What is this ancient message of hope, written for people facing down a brutal empire? What does it have to say to us today? Well, it leaves us with a really powerful question for our own time. I mean, think about it. We live in an age of instant reactions and getting even, right? An eye for an eye right now. So what on earth is this ancient call for patience and faith in a justice that is certain but maybe not immediate? What does that mean for us? It kind of forces us to consider a totally different kind of power. Not the quick power of the sword, but the deep, lasting power of patience. And that is definitely something I think about.